All right, let's just jump right into this explainer because today we are dissecting a seriously fascinating financial illusion, the high-income broke person. You know the type, right? We're unpacking why the single most dangerous number in your entire financial life might actually be the one you're so tempted to brag about at dinner parties. We're going to quickly separate the sheer illusion of income from the concrete actual reality of wealth. So check out the stark contrast between these two totally different financial paths. On one side, we've got Greg. Now, Greg is pulling in $250,000 a year. He's driving a brand new luxury SUV, which, let's be real, lost a huge chunk of its value the second his tires hit the street. And he lives in this massive house that literally makes people slow down when they drive by. On paper, Greg looks like the adult in the room. But then on the flip side, we have Maya. Maya is a school teacher living right next door, making $65,000 a year. She drives a perfectly sensible 6-year-old sedan and rents a modest apartment. Now, they both think they're being incredibly smart with their money. But as we're about to see, Maya is quietly playing a completely different game. So the absolutely crucial question we got to ask ourselves right up front is this. Who is actually quietly going broke while standing perfectly still? It's kind of counterintuitive, isn't it? I mean, society constantly beats it into our heads that the person with the biggest paycheck is the ultimate winner. But when you finally pull back the curtain and look at their actual balance sheets, a completely different reality emerges. One of these two people is living exactly one missed paycheck away from total disaster, while the other, well, she's getting richer in her sleep for reasons neither of them could probably fully explain to you right now. Let's really dig into the mechanics of exactly how this happens. Okay, let's zoom in on day one. This is the day their paths officially diverge. We'll call it the promotion versus the automator. Greg gets this massive promotion at work and boom, he instantly upgrades his entire lifestyle. He drops a heavy down payment on a sprawling house, signs his life away on a massive mortgage, finances that luxury SUV, and maxes out premium credit cards on lavish vacations. His friends, they think he is absolutely crushing it. Maya, on the other hand, does almost the exact opposite. She keeps her $65,000 salary exactly where it is, stays right there in her modest apartment, and simply sets up an automatic transfer to an index fund on the first of every single month. She genuinely does not care what the stock market is doing on a random Tuesday. She just lets it run. Honestly, she probably couldn't even tell you her brokerage password right now if her life depended on it. To really understand what's secretly happening to Greg here, we need to define the trap that's being built around him. It is the incredibly dangerous illusion of confusing your nominal wealth with your real wealth. This is exactly what economists are pointing at when they talk about the massive difference between nominal and real numbers. See, the nominal number is Greg's incredibly impressive $250,000 salary. It makes him feel like an absolute titan. But his real wealth, the assets he actually gets to keep at the end of the day, is just quietly vanishing. He's staring at the price tag in the salary, but he isn't looking at what that money is actually worth in terms of his own personal freedom. And man, this brilliantly illustrates the core issue. Listen to this quote. Income is just the water flowing through the pipe, but wealth is what actually stays in the bucket. I love that. Greg has a massive pipe. Water is just rushing in at an incredible rate. But there are giant holes in the bottom of his bucket. Maya might have a smaller pipe, sure, but her bucket is sealed completely tight. She is capturing her money and buying little pieces of the economy through those index funds, allowing her wealth to ride the exact same wave that lifts the whole market over time. You see, true wealth is what you actually retain, not just the cash that passes through your hands. When you look at the harsh reality of Greg's cash flow, the numbers are pretty sobering. His impressive income, that super tall bar right there, is entirely consumed by his fixed monthly liabilities to the bank. He has essentially locked himself into tens of thousands of dollars in absolute obligations. Greg literally owes the bank more money than he has ever seen in his entire life. If he misses even 1 month of work, this beautiful house of cards instantly collapses. He is completely trapped under the weight of his own lifestyle, turning a massive incoming cash flow into virtually zero net gain. Now, I want to be incredibly clear here because this is absolutely vital to understand. Greg isn't lazy. He isn't dumb. If you're listening to this and finding yourself relating to Greg a bit, know that you aren't lacking willpower, and this is definitely not some lecture about someone buying one too many lattes. No, Greg is just caught in the invisible machine of lifestyle creep, living within a system that is literally designed to keep him dependent on his next paycheck. Every single time Greg gets a raise, he goes out and buys a nicer watch, or maybe a bigger boat. He's running on a treadmill set to a speed he just can't walk off. The entire financial system is structured to look at a high earner like Greg and immediately offer to lend him just enough money to keep him exactly where he is, right there in debt, quietly paying interest to the banks month after month. The system doesn't want him wealthy. It wants him dependent. But let's add some nuance here and see how this all builds, because this is where a lot of that flashy internet financial advice completely misses the mark. Making a high income is an incredible tool. I mean, having $250,000 salary is fantastic. Just like keeping some cash on a savings account for emergencies is a genuinely great idea. The real mistake isn't making the money. Think about it. If Greg had taken that massive income and lived exactly like Maya for just 5 years, he would have built an untouchable fortress of wealth. The critical error was never making the money. The mistake was immediately transferring all of it to someone else in exchange for the mere appearance of being rich. So, fast forwarding the math, this timeline shows exactly how this plays out over decades. On day 1, Greg looked like the clear winner, no contest. But by year 10, the invisible machine of lifestyle creep has just been grinding away. On paper, Greg still looks like a millionaire, but the guy is exhausted. Now look at year 20. By year 20, the two lines on their financial chart have genuinely, permanently separated. Maya has let an invisible force do the heavy lifting for her. Because she kept her fixed costs incredibly low, a massive chunk of her salary compounded relentlessly for 2 straight decades. 20 years of Maya's relentlessly compounded low fixed costs absolutely crushed Greg's high-stress, debt-fueled treadmill. It's not even close. And here is exactly why this matters so deeply to your everyday financial peace of mind. When an economic downturn hits, the reality of their choices becomes brutally clear. Let's say Greg's company announces layoffs. He is terrified. Because of his massive fixed costs, he might be forced into selling assets at a devastating loss just to cover his car payments and his mortgage. He's locked into a potential disaster at the literal worst possible moment. Maya, on the other hand, she sleeps perfectly fine. Why? Well, because her money doesn't demand a massive monthly payment. She isn't burdened by fixed liabilities. So a market dip or a temporary shock just doesn't threaten her day-to-day survival, and it certainly doesn't force her to make panicked, disastrous financial decisions. They both started in the exact same neighborhood with the exact same goal, but one focused on the nominal illusion, and the other built a real solid foundation. So I'll leave you with this provocative thought to really ponder the next time someone brags to you about a massive salary or a flashy new car. Ask them, or better yet, ask yourself, one quiet question. Are you actually building real wealth? Or are you just a highly paid employee working for your bank? Because the math just keeps screaming that the only people who truly win are the ones who understand the difference.